Hey everybody, it's Dave here from Dragonhill Games, and you're watching This Week in MTG Finance. As always, and before we get started, I want to thank MTG Stocks for allowing us to use graphical information for the purposes of this video. It's been a crazy week this week with Zendikar Rising finally getting released on paper. All of these expeditions getting open with as many as 5 in a single collector booster box. Wow, that is insanity. And on top of that, our list contains mostly cards from the reserve list again this week. So let's dive right in, and we're going to start right here with Quorum Trench Gnomes from Legends. Not only do I love the art on this old card, I love the wording even more. Tap to have target planes produce 1 colorless mana instead of white mana until the end of the game. Use counters. Wow, our number 10 winner is up 70% this week to $26.75. Taking up the number 9 spot, we have one of the original big baddies from back in Alliance, and that would be a Lord of Tressorhorn, coming in at $8, and he's also up 70% this week. It's on the reserve list. Now you have to remember, take this guy into context. I was playing back in those days, and there was not a lot of cards that had, 9, 10 plus power, that kind of thing. We were talking about things like Polar Kraken, maybe Colossus of Sardi. There was a few that were up in that sort of 9, 10 range, but there wasn't a whole lot, and Lord of Tressorhorn was terrifying because there wasn't too many exile effects around as well. So you had regenerate for just 1 black mana on him. He was really difficult to deal with. Once he was on the battlefield, he just kept kind of swinging and destroying your board until the game was over. The game was a lot slower back then. But these days, this card just doesn't really make sense. So we're talking about a card that really is kind of moving just because it's on the reserve list. I headed over to EDH Rec. It appears in less than 150 decks. Obviously, it doesn't get any legacy or vintage play, and there's a huge price to be paid when you cast Lord of Tressorhorn. Not only is he 3 different colors and a total of 4 CMC, you also have to pay 2 life, sacrifice 2 creatures, and target opponent draws 2 cards. So like I said, really hefty price to be paid. Doesn't really make a lot of sense to be playing a card like this today, but in his time, he was a terror. Our number 8 winner is the only card this week that's not on the reserve list, and that would be Omnath, Locus of the Royal from Core Set 2020. Up 78%, and this card's coming in at exactly $10. Omnath Locus of the Royal is on the way up because Omnath Locus of Creation from the brand new Zendikar Rising is getting so much attention right now. Clearly that card is huge in standard. In fact, I think they're probably going to have to do something there. It's just dominating the standard scene, especially up in the higher mythic tiers. But Omnath Locus of Creation is a massive, attractive new commander. And of course, Omnath Locus of the Royal would slot right into that deck. Heading right back over to the reserve list, and in the number 7 spot this week, we have Hellfire from Legends, currently valued at $180. This thing has had a meteoric rise over the course of the last month or so. We were sitting around the $50 mark, and we're worth more than triple that today at $180, and it's up 84% this week. I actually like this card. It seems pretty useful, especially if you're looking for a way to bomb down your life total in Commander. For 5 mana, 3 black and 2, we're getting a board wipe that destroys all non-black creatures, and then it deals X plus 3 damage to you, where X is the number of creatures put into the graveyard. So like I said, really awesome card if you're looking to bomb down your life total. Obviously, you'd be playing black creatures in a deck like this, so it doesn't affect any of your stuff. Seems like a decent card for Commander. Now, our number 6 winner this week is Rapid Fire from Legends, another reserve list card currently valued at $23.50. Now, this is up 92% this week. Kind of a wonky card. For 4 mana at instant speed, we have a card that we have to play before our opponents choose their blocking creatures. Now, our creature gains first strike, and it gets Rampage 2. Now, if you're not familiar with Rampage 2, it's an older mechanic that essentially means for every creature that blocks this creature, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. I could see this maybe getting used in some sort of decks that run multiple combat phases, but otherwise a pretty lousy card. Taking up the number 5 spot this week, we have a card that's near and dear to my heart. It's actually a little bit of a pet project card to me. It's Argivian Archaeologist from Antiquities, currently valued at $208, and this is also up 92% this week. Now, what I mean by pet project is I've been holding on to a couple copies of Argivian Archaeologist just to kind of see where they go. I've had them for about 10 or 15 years, something along those lines. Picked them up back in the day around the $10 mark, and this card to me has always been really interesting because it's had such wild, massive up and down swings. I mean, the card will gain $100 and then stay there for a couple of weeks or months or even a year or so, and then just dive right down and lose all of its value. Again, we're on another massive upswing up over the $200 mark. So like I said, not a card I really recommend as an investment because it's just so wild in terms of where it goes with its price. But I really do enjoy watching its price progression over all of these years. For 3 mana, it's actually a really kind of useful card, especially in the right kind of deck. For 3 mana, we're getting a 1/1 that you can pay to return an artifact from your graveyard to your hand. So I imagine you guys can think of all sorts of awesome uses for that, especially in Commander. Now, our number 4 winner was also on our list last week, and that's Lady Caleria from Legends, currently valued at $67.50, and she's up another 125% this week. We've talked about these Legends from Legends a lot over the course of the last couple of weeks, and most of them really are non-playable cards. They're pretty much purely just sort of collector buyouts and collector-driven demand. The only way I would touch any of these cards realistically is if they were graded by a reputable company and I could get them for a reasonable price. Our number 3 winner is actually reasonably playable in Commander, and that's Diamond Valley from Arabian Nights, currently valued at $722.50, and this is up 141% this week. Diamond Valley has an extremely low supply. If we head on over to eBay, we can see that there's a couple of destroyed and signed copies that are going for between $300 and $400. But from there's actually one here that's graded at 8.5, and it's Beckett graded, so decent pickup if you're looking to get something like that for around $475. But from there, it quickly goes up into the $700 range, all the way up to as high as $1,700 listed for a mint graded copy. Coming in at number 2 this week is another terrible legend from Legends, and that would be Roga of Kur Keep, valued at $80, and this thing's up 275% this week. It actually would be pretty fun to make this as a Commander deck just for the memes. Roga is a 6 mana cost 5/5 legendary. Now all of your kobolds of Kur Keep get +2/+2, but you have to pay 3 red mana during your upkeep, or an opponent of your choosing gains control of Roga of Kur Keep and all kobolds of Kur Keep. Like I said, I think it would be kind of fun to make this deck just for the laughs, but otherwise this card is absolutely terrible. And our big winner this week, Krovax the Curse from Stronghold, is up 1,105% to $16.63. Reserve list card. Now this might be spiking because of some speculation around future and possible spoilers from Commander Legends. I mean, we've already seen Sengir the Dark Baron, so there's no reason to believe that there won't be a vampire theme at least running through Commander Legends. Krovax is actually pretty decent. For 4 mana, we get a legendary creature that enters play with 4 +1/+1 counters on it. Now during our upkeep, we sacrifice a creature and put another counter on Krovax, or we remove a counter from Krovax, and we can pay 1 black and it gets flying until end of the turn. So it's actually a decent sack outlet that you can gain some benefit from. Could definitely be useful in the right types of Commander decks. Alright, before I get to cards I'm investing in this week, as always, if you're a subscriber, you know I want to thank you for being here. I really appreciate your support. And if not, now's a great time to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I post at least 2 videos every week. I also want to shout out everybody who has been supporting us through our online marketplace, www.dragonhillgames.com. So if you're looking for a way to support this channel, go ahead and check that out. Double Masters has pretty much bottomed out by this point, and there's a lot of great cards that you can snipe from that set, and now is the time to do that. I've mentioned staples like Lightning Greaves a couple of times over the course of the last couple of months. Picking up Lightning Greaves for under $4 is a fantastic deal, considering most of the other versions run in the $5 to $7 range. Huge time Commander staple, great time to be picking it up under $4. Over the course of the next few weeks, while all of these Zendikar Rising expeditions flood the market, it's going to be a great opportunity to watch for some of the big time staples. Cards like Ancient Tomb from Zendikar Rising expeditions are a great pickup even in the $40 range. Most of the other copies run for between $40 and $50, and the foil is currently valued at $75. If we contrast these to some of the other foils, the original Zendikar expedition foil is more than double that at $152, and even something like the box topper from Ultimate Masters is well over $100. So picking up cards like this for $75 is a great opportunity right now. My number one pick from Zendikar Rising Expeditions is actually Strip Mine, currently valued around $24 for the non-foil version, with the foil sitting around $75. This card just hasn't had a lot of reprints, and it's a huge staple in both Commander and Vintage. If we contrast it to the Zendikar Expeditions at $110, the Zendikar Rising Expedition is a great pickup in the foil at $75. And our speculation play for the week this week is Titan's Nest from Ikoria, Lair of Behemoths. I've actually been in conversation with one of my subscribers about this card for a few weeks now, and both him and I are on the same page. I think this is a great card for Sultai Commander decks, especially going down the road. For 4 mana, we get an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you look at the top card of your library, and you can put that card into your graveyard. So obviously really good for things like Reanimator decks. You can also exile a card from your graveyard to add colorless mana. You can only spend this mana to cast colored spells with X in its mana cost. So really good for something like a Zaxara Commander type deck. Titan's Nest is our speculation play for the week. A great pickup at under 50 cents. Alright, I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode of This Week in MTG Finance. If you did, go ahead and smash that like button. It really helps me out, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.